Okay, we are going to start with 1 tablespoon of butter and 2 tablespoons of olive oil, or whichever oil you prefer. That's up to you. Okay, we're gonna melt this down. And the fire, I have it on, you know, medium to high right now, and then we'll turn it down a little bit later. Okay, now that this is melted, we are going to add our mushrooms. Now the mushrooms we are going to add, and we are going to cook them down until they're completely browned. And this is 1 8-ounce container of white mushrooms. You can use whatever mushrooms you like. It doesn't have to be the white ones. So buy whatever, you know, whatever your preference is. It doesn't matter in this recipe. And the mushrooms will absorb the butter and the oil, but don't worry about that. It'll release them in a little bit once they start cooking down. If you add the salt now, which you can, it'll sweat the mushrooms out quicker. And that's what we are going to do. We're going to add 1 teaspoon of salt, and I am using kosher salt. And this takes a little bit, you know, it's going to take about 5 or 10 minutes to brown these mushrooms before we can add our onion. Okay, I'm going to let these cook for a little bit, and I'll be right back. It's been about 5 minutes since I've been sauteing the mushrooms, and they're getting pretty shrunk down, but I still want to take them a little bit further. And as you can see, they shrink down quite a bit. Alrighty, now that we have the mushrooms where we want them, we are going to add our onion. And this is half of a medium onion, and I just diced it. If you want to slice it, that's up to you. It doesn't matter the cut of the onion. And we're going to sweat these out for a couple of minutes. Okay, we have the onions right exactly where we want them. As you can see, I did brown them a little bit, not a whole bunch, just a little bit. Now we're going to add our garlic. Now the garlic, you just have to pay a little bit more attention to it so that it doesn't brown, because it will get bitter. So that was the garlic. It's just 1 large garlic that I minced very finely, and we're just going to saute that real lightly, just till I can smell the garlic, which happens right away when it's minced very small. Now we are going to add the flour, and you're going to add 3 tablespoons of flour. Whatever you use for oil, we used a tablespoon of butter and 2 tablespoons of olive oil. That's the equivalent of what you're going to add in for flour. So it was 3 tablespoons of oil and 3 tablespoons of flour, if that makes sense. And we're just going to cook out the flour taste of it, because this is just a thickening agent. And it seems like it's kind of dry, but that's kind of what you want. And it doesn't take long, just takes a minute to cook out the flour flavor in this. And then we are going to add our liquid, which is 1 cup of heavy cream and 1 cup of whole milk. You don't want to put in the heavy cream, just double the milk, or put 1 cup of half and half. Okay, that's good right there. Now we're going to add our liquid. Okay, we're going to turn the heat down, and I am going to add my thyme. And we are going to add a half of a teaspoon of poultry seasoning and a half of a teaspoon of white pepper. Now we're just going to give this a mix. And we're going to bring it to the boil, just to a light boil, not too hard. It's going to thicken up. And then here is where you're going to taste for salt. If you feel like you need a little bit more, well then adjust your seasoning. That's totally up to you. And just keep moving it so you don't get any lumps. As you can see, it's thickened up real nicely. Now, the way you know it's ready is you take your spoon, coat your spoon, and if you can see that, it's done. We're going to turn off the heat, because you don't want it to thicken up anymore. And if it does and it gets too thick for you, all you add is a little bit more milk, and you should get it back to the consistency you had it. So now we're just going to add the fresh parsley. And that's it. Our sauce is ready. Okay guys, for the chicken part of it, here I have 6 chicken thighs that I washed and cleaned, and I pat dried them. And this is how they come from the store, but when I cook my chicken thighs, I just roll them up like this to keep them moist while I'm cooking them. But the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to season them I am going to use my air fryer today for this. Only because I just love how fast everything comes out, and it just takes a few minutes. It takes longer to prep your food. Now, I am wearing gloves just so I don't cross-contaminate. Here I have salt, poultry seasoning, and pepper, and a little bit of cooking spray. And this is the basket that we cook it in. There's the tray. This is just the basket. The little holes in there allows the convection oven to circulate air so that it gets a little bit crispy. And once I touch the salt, these seasonings, I don't reuse them. I throw them away. So don't cross-contaminate. The pepper, I don't touch it so I can pour it right out of the container. I do make sure and wipe my stuff down before I put them away when I work with chicken, okay? And I take my poultry seasoning. You could add lemon pepper to this or whatever, but because of the sauce, I want that to be the highlight with the chicken. Okay, then we're going to turn it around, do the same thing. Make sure everything gets seasoning. Okay, now remember, do not reuse these. You need to throw those away. Don't cross-contaminate your spices. Okay, and that's going to be it. So now what I do is I get my nonstick spray and I lightly, very lightly coat it just like that. Okay? So now, I have my cutting board here. Put this aside. Now what I do is I get my chicken and like I said, I roll it up just like that and I put it into the basket. Because if you leave it out like this, it's going to tend to dry. So you just shape it back up like this. And then you're going to give it a little spray on this side. And that's it. We are going to pop it into the air fryer at 350 degrees with the convection on air fry. I'm going to move you over to show you that. Okay guys, we're going to use the air fryer. And what I do, just to make sure that my chicken is cooked properly, I have one of these little internal meat thermometers. I got this off of Amazon, real inexpensive, but it's very accurate. All you do is, it's called Therm Pro, and you just turn it on. It's digital, and then you just push the button to open the probe. And then you just poke the meat and it'll give you the internal temperature of the meat. So you can use this on turkey, on steak, on whatever. And if you want to close it, you just push the button, flip it around. After you wash it, of course, just the stainless steel part of it. So anyway, we're going to have this just to make sure. And the oven, we are going to put it at 350 degrees. We are going to turn it to the air fry and bake, and that's nothing. And we're going to put this for 15 minutes. We're going to put our chicken in. It's not ready in 15 minutes. In 15 minutes, I will come and turn the chicken and cook it another 15 minutes on the other side. And then we'll check for the internal temperature. So I'll be back in a few minutes, guys. Okay, guys, it's been about 12 minutes. I'm going to flip these around. And we're going to let them go for a few more minutes. They toast up so nicely. Okay, I'm going to turn it back on. Okay guys, the bell rang. I switched places here so I could grab the tray better. I am going to pull them out so we can check the internal temperature. And I'm going to check it on this little chubbier guy here. And as you can see here, it's at 82. And okay, we're looking for an internal temperature of 165. We got to 170 and we're good. I'm going to take them out and set them to rest so that the juices can redistribute, and I'll be back to show you the finished product. Doesn't that look good? And in no time at all. Okay guys, this is my version of chicken and cream mushroom sauce. I'm going to leave all the details in the description bar below. Just take a look there. If you give the recipe a try, come back and let us know how it worked out for you. Please leave a comment and share with family and friends. And go visit us on Facebook at Virtual Kitchen with Laura. Thank you so much for watching my videos, guys. Talk to y'all later. Bye.